Hello, this is Doron, and I'm here to show you a very neat two-player game called Famiglia. In this game, each player plays a gang, a rival a gang to each other that consists of four families. Each family is represented by a color of green, blue, red, and yellow, which essentially each color has a certain ability in the game. Now the point of the game is at the end of the game, whomever has a total of score, these are the scores, whoever has a total score higher than the other wins the game, and obviously there can be only one winner, especially in a two-player game. So what's going in this game here, we have 6 cards that starting the street, what's called the street on display, which from there you need, your job is basically to recruit people into your gang from there. On your turn you have several options that you can go through, that at the end of the turn you either pass or you grab a card from here, basically. Now the way that it works is everybody has their starting hand with one card from each family that valued at 0, which is basically nothing of a value. It's the end scoring of each card is even 0. But the way that this works is at the end of your turn you can either grab another card from the street that is valued or at 0, or you play 2 cards of the same value and color to grab a higher card of the same color. And what I mean by that, if for example I would like to grab a 2 yellow, so I will need to have two cards yellow colored with where each one is value of 1. So basically to grab a 2 I need 2 cards with 1, to grab a 3 if there was I need 2 cards of 2. So you basically need 2 cards with of 1 value less than the card that you want to take. Now once you grab a card you add it to your hand. The scoring does not count from the cards that you hold in your hand. During your turn you have the option, and I'll show you how, to place down a card, which at the end of the game you'll end up with several cards in front of you, and that would be considered your recruited gang, and the scoring goes according to these cards. So on your turn you have the ability to either grab a 0 or I should say you have the option to actually display more cards. I'll start by doing that. Actually, that's more properly. If there are any cards that I would like to recruit to add into my hand, I have the ability to take any card from here and discard it, and whatever the value is on the top, I take and reveal 2 more cards into the street. However, if on the street there is a card with a value of 0, I cannot do that. Let's imagine this was not here. I take the 2, I reveal 2 more cards. As long as none of the cards that revealed are 0, I can keep on doing that. Add more cards and just reveal more cards. And this becomes your discard pile. Once I do exchange this card for 2 and one of them is 0, I can no longer exchange cards. Now, by default, at the beginning, the only option that I have is really grabbing other zeros. So I would like to grab this 0 to add into my hand. Now, like I said, each card has its specific ability, and I'll go over that in just a second. But what I will do, I'll ignore, for example, that this is a 2-player game, just to show for the sake of explaining. So at this point, I would grab a 0, my turn is over, you do not replenish cards, this stays this way. Now let's say on my next turn I would like to recruit this one, since I have 2 cards of 0s. I put these guys down, I take the one added to my hand, and then I grab one of these back into my hand, and this is the way that you start adding cards to your own display. Now, the yellows have a certain ability and I'll get into that in just a second. Before I talk about abilities, I would say the game goes on once this deck is depleted and there are cards that are in the discard pile. This is being reshuffled, and this acts as a new draw pile. Now, if you recall, if you remember, I mentioned I can take a card from here, discard, and replace two. I can still do that as long as there's no zero, but the second time that I have this deck, after the first time it's exhausted, I can draw only once. I can do it only once, regardless to the fact whether there's a zero or not. Once the deck is depleted, the current player that caused the deck to be depleted, his turn is immediately over, and the next player has one more option to play, and then the game ends. Whomever has the highest score of total cards wins the game. Now, what's neat about this game is, in order to acquire higher cards, you have to start obviously from lower cards. You don't have the ability to grab higher cards from the start. Let me just explain a little bit about the abilities. Yellows, the way that it happens is you can use yellow cards as regular cards. Let me just grab another one for showing you. If I have 2 ones in my hands, you know, I can put them down, grab a 2, and then I leave 1 down. So that's the ability of not the ability, but that's obviously if I play the yellows in a regular way. However, I have the ability to play 1 yellow card before I pick up down, use its ability, which in this case it's -1. There's also -2, which that means what that causes, it causes for all the cards on the street, on the display, to value down by 1 in order for me to be able to grab it. So that makes this 1 green a 0, so I can simply grab it as a single card without using a combination of 2 cards. So that's the yellow's ability. The green ability here, hopefully it's clear from here. I can focus on that better. Let's see. The green ability has a 0 and a 1, and what that means, this card in combination of another card of a different color can act this card as a 0 or a 1. So for example, if I have a yellow 0, I can use this in combination as a yellow 0 basically and grab a 1 yellow. So that's the ability of the green. Let me just refocus here once more. Okay, and then you have the blue card. Let me just grab 1 card. For example, this one here. It's a 4. It shows a 4 here, and what that means is that at any time having cards on my own display here that I already recruited, alright, I can play this card as a single card to use its ability. It indicates 4, that means I can grab 4 cards from here, doesn't matter how many there are, 4 cards into my hand and exchange them with 4 other cards. So that's one good way of grabbing low value cards into your hand and putting down cards with much higher value. That's the blue ability. The red does not have ability, it's just a high ranked value of a card. Basically it's a very neat faction, or a family I should say. Now, one more thing before we're done is, now that you know the abilities and stuff, so on your turn, what you can actually do is first exchanging cards if you want, taking a card and replenish with cards of that value. Then you have the option to use a blue card, a single card, as ability. Put down 1 single card and use its ability. Then you have the option to play down a yellow card to use its ability. And then you would have the option to grab a card from here or pass. So again, at the beginning of the turn you have the option to replenish, to exchange cards from here, from the deck to the street. Then you have the option to play a blue card for its ability, then yellow card for its ability, and then grab a card. So that's really it. The game is very simple to pick up, and it is a lot of fun. It takes about 30 minutes. It was designed by Friedman Fries, who designed many other good games, and that's really it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I might not cover all of the rules to keep this a short video as possible. If you find any mistake, I appreciate if you comment. Please put a timestamp so it would be easier for me to find it in the video and add a notation, so basically correcting my mistake. I appreciate if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and remember that sharing is caring. That would be very much appreciated. Thank you.